Alrighty, tubers, we got another one here for you today. Just picked this guy up for 30 bucks. It's got a 10 horsepower Briggs & Stratton engine on it. First two of the code is the year that it was made. That would be 1999. So it's what, 24 years old? I noticed one of the things that caught my eye was the fact that it's got a battery on it. Well, that battery is also hooked up to a starter. This is a electric start, which is pretty interesting. Let's see, what does that say? PTO clutch, engage, disengage. Sitting in the middle for some reason. It's not sitting on either side, or I'm not sure why that is. Let's see, let's look up at the controls here. We got forward and reverse, it looks like, and neutral in the middle. Got throttle control, forward interlock lever, squeeze either interlock lever before engaging wheels and tines. Well, it's just a safety switch. In other words, you got to be holding one side or the other. So it'll give you ignition and all that. Might be an issue when we go to try to start this thing. We've got this guy as well. Forward interlock wire harness. That's for that guy. I'm not sure what this guy is for. I'm gonna guess engaging or disengaging the tines. Goes down there. So I'm gonna guess that guy's for. So this is a Troy-built Big Red. Troy-built horse. I think this is one of the biggest ones that they built. It looks like it has forward rotating tines. It means they go the same direction as the wheels. Same direction of travel. Just pulling it over. Seems like it's got pretty good compression. When I checked the oil on it off camera before starting, it was low on oil, so I went ahead and threw some oil in it. Haven't tried starting it yet. I would imagine the battery is dead. Yeah, battery's dead. Either that or I'm not maybe squeezing the handle up top or something. I got my jumper box over here, and I got my big jumper pack over here as well. Charger jumper. That guy. I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy on 12 volts. There's some amount of voltage in that battery. It only turns itself on when it sees the voltage. So let's go ahead and try turning it over. I did put some fuel in it. It was completely dry when I first started playing with it. Let's see. Got a bad connection here. These are not the right cables for this. Well, it turns over. Go ahead and choke it up. Nothing. Nothing. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that spark plug. It's a weird spark plug. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull that guy and check for ignition. All right, went and got the electric ratchet. Well, that's finger tight. That wasn't even tight in there at all. It looks like a really long spark plug to be in a flathead. Then again, those threads in there, those threads look awful long, so maybe this is the correct one. First fire. FF-20. Ooh. Let's go ahead and turn this guy over, see if we got any ignition of any sort. We can focus in there a little bit. None. No ignition at all. Alright, let's go ahead and try squeezing one of these handles. And then I'm going to turn it over again. I'm going to have to pause you though. Alright, squeezing the handle didn't do anything. So we definitely don't have ignition. I can smell fuel, so I want to say that the carburetor is probably producing fuel or getting fuel to the engine. Not sure though, it could be doing it only on choke. We definitely don't have ignition. So let's see, that guy is probably going to be the 12-volt charging cable. It looks like it goes up into there, so that's probably 12-volt charge. This side is going to be ignition, and I see several wires. That's where the ignition plugs into right there. I see 3. Looks like maybe 3 separate wires plugged into that. So we got to figure out if there's a safety that is currently kicking on or something that's grounding out that ignition coil. So it looks like one of them, the green one, comes to this side. This guy right here, coming up, and it goes into the back of the ignition switch. That could be the issue, where that ignition switch is maybe grounding out internally. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is disconnect some of these. I'm going to undo that bolt right there and disconnect some of these wires and just bypass them all until we know which one's causing the issue. Alright, looks like that size is an 11/32. I'm going to just go ahead and undo it here. That's the green wire I think the issue is, but we're going to go ahead and unhook that red one as well and leave that main one. It goes down into here as well. So it looks like when you idle it down all the way, there's a kill switch. But it's not idled down, it's idled up where it should be. Maybe a safety, so while you're running it, if it decides to do something bad, you can just hit the throttle, turn all the way down, and maybe shut it off that way. Other than letting go of the handles. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 different kill switches on this thing. No ignition, still. Nothing. Alright, let's go ahead and unplug that guy, if we're able. There they are, the pliers. For those of you who are watching and not skipping, I want to do a giveaway for you guys again. What would you guys be interested in for the giveaway? Would you guys want a tool certificate like for Harbor Freight? Or would you like an Amazon card like I did last time? Well, it looks like that is not removable. I thought that was more of a spade connector, but it's not. So we're gonna just go ahead and unhook it as well. What would you guys like to see for a giveaway, for a prize for the giveaway? I think this time we're gonna do like my good friend Sean does and do drawing out of a hat instead of doing the online random generators, because sometimes they're not all that random. Might end up doing it that way just because it might be a little more fair. It might be, I don't know. It seems like the hat draw that he does usually works out really good for him. So that looks like it is separate, and then there's another one even further on the back side, and that one on the back side runs to the ignition coil itself. So let's go ahead and see unhooking that one now, if we've got anything. Nothing. It's gonna sound really bad because that battery shut off. There we go. Now it won't. Nothing. Still no ignition. I think we might have a problem with the ignition coil, guys. We're gonna keep digging into it here. I'm gonna unhook that last one back there. That one definitely is a spade connector. That's the very last one. That's the one that actually runs to the coil. All right, that guy's not touching anything right now. Now do we have ignition? Nothing. See, these ignition coils don't need 12 volts to ignite. They produce their own power, make their own ignition, and all they have to have is a wire running to them to shut the ignition coil off. So I do love the fact that that 10 horsepower, can you guys see that? I don't know if you can see that or not. That 10 horsepower is a sticker on top of something. I wonder if they did that from the factory. That's interesting. Like, these covers were for a different engine and they went, oh crap, we need to use them for these, and so they bought a 10 horse sticker, or not bought, but had a 10 horse sticker and just put it over it for the 10 horsepower engines. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the camera off for a little bit. What I'm gonna end up doing is pulling this cover off, taking the whole cover off and getting to the ignition coil itself. Alrighty, I got 2 1/4-inch screws out of this cover, and then 2 3/8 in the top, and then 2 3/8 bolts down here in the bottom. I need to remove this strap, get it out of the way. That's how I tied it down to my trailer. Let's go ahead and pull this guy and see what we find. Ow! We find a crushed thumb. Hey, look at that. What is that guy? Hello? That's set up. That was pretty much touching metal in here, and that is a part of the ignition. And there's a fuel pump. This thing has a fuel pump. So let's go ahead and put this guy up and out of the way. Might end up just cutting him off. Not sure why he's just sitting in there. Let's see if we have ignition. What was that? Oh, the cover. Just trying to get that guy up and out of the way. No ignition still. Alright, there's been times where this wire runs down and through, like this guy runs right through here. It's holding it down. And sometimes those can even arc out and just wear through to the point where they don't run anymore. So let's go ahead and unplug it. If it still doesn't have spark after this, then it's going to be a failed ignition coil. Might have one laying around, I don't know. Alright. Still nothing. Woo-hoo-hoo. Nope, it's working now. It got me. Alright. I actually don't know if that spark plug's good. That was the first time it shocked me, and the shocking is good. It's good. It's got ignition now. I can see the spark in the spark plug. It's working! It's working! Ooh, crooked. You see that? I'm gonna straighten that up and clean it up on the wire wheel. There we go. Cheap Poker 9000. You're one of them. One of the brushes at me. Always scares me when that happens. That hurts a little bit. Well, now that that's all cleaned up, really doesn't look like there's very many hours on that plug at all. Let's go ahead and slide that guy back in. We'll go ahead and try starting it with the cover off. Where did my spark plug wrench go? Sit underneath the cover. Nope. Oh, what are you? Oh, you're right there. I put you away. Okay, I found it. We're good. Don't mind me. Tighten it down till the crush ring stops. Click. All right. Now it's actually tight. That was the first time that crush ring has been smushed down. All right, I'm gonna turn the battery back on here. There we go. And ignition. Got the choke off right now. Gonna turn the choke back on. So I'm not sure what that guy, what he was doing. Might be something up in here, maybe. I don't think so, though. I think this was a afterthought, because it's starting and it's staying running with that other cable hooked up. It must have just been this guy, and I didn't see the spark when I pulled the cover off and found this guy. We're gonna lop him off here. I really don't think we need it. Just like that. And then we're gonna go ahead and probably hook all of that back up again. Okay. We got all those guys hooked back up again, right? Cool. Let's go ahead and try starting it again. I gotta turn the battery on. It'll turn over on just the jumper, but it makes the starter motor sound really weird. Cool. So that must have been the issue. Unless somehow I moved something here and it's just not touching no more. Doesn't look like bare wire to me, so I think that's good. I think we're safe there. Well, cool. So it was just that one random wire going up into here. I don't think this thing needs any more ability to kill itself. There's like 4 different switches to be able to shut this engine down. One of them's on the handlebars, one of them's right here, one of them's turning the throttle all the way down. Yeah, I don't think it needs anything more than what it's got. Cool. What are these guys? Why do they look like they've been chopped up and put on here? I'm not gonna look at them. I'm just gonna leave them alone. That's awesome. So this thing starts and runs good. And it doesn't seem like it smokes at all either, which is really, really good. It's really promising. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this, once I find the right size for it. I'm gonna pull this air filter open, take a look at it. Got a helicopter overhead. Life flight, looks like. Go ahead and open this guy up. Inspect. Usually air filters on rototillers really get not looked at very often, and that's dirty, and there's a secondary filter too. Yeah, that all needs to be replaced. It'll still run on it, but yeah, it's pretty filthy dirty. Dust some of it out. That'll get put on order. I'm also noticing a little bit of an oil leak, and it's on this side. It's coming from that guy, which is a little loose. It's tight now. Hopefully that won't leak no more, or any more. I want to say it correctly. This was one heck of a find, guys. 30 bucks. I didn't even have to pull the carburetor apart, clean it, touch it, nothing. All I had to do is cut one wire in there. I was grounding out the ignition and making it not run. Just buy a cheap Walmart or whatever garden battery and throw it on there. That's gonna be nice to have an electric start rototiller. That's way cool. This one, I've gone through a couple in the last couple years. I think this one might stick around. I'm gonna have another video coming up, whether it's before this one or after this one, of my dad's rototiller. I'll show you what I found on that guy. Really cool Italian made rototiller. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna put this guy back together, put the cover back on. I don't think it needs anything more than what we've done other than regular maintenance. Spark plug's been cleaned. Spark plug's in really good shape. It's got new oil in it, but I'm gonna drop that as soon as I get one good cycle on this thing, because it's a bunch of mystery oil. Not Marvel mystery oil, but just oil that different bottles, whatever I had laying around. Looks like it's even got like a cup on the front, so if this was off, you could wrap a rope around it almost. Interesting. Yeah, pretty neat, guys. Like I said, I don't think it needs anything more than what we did. I think it was put away correctly. This was last run in 2020, supposedly 2019 or 2020, so about 4-ish years. And I think when it was put away, it was run out of fuel, which is what we're going to do as well. We're going to go ahead and shut the fuel off in the bottom here, start it, let it run until it starts running out, turn the choke on and let it run completely out of fuel. And it'll be put away correctly. We'll then drain the fuel into a separate tank and put this thing away for the winter. It's pretty awesome. They spray painted it blue in spots, so if it were ever stolen, it would be easily identified. I might see if I can take some of this paint off, make it look good, or just paint on top of it. But the paint shouldn't affect the ability to work this thing, so just need to get that other cover on. That's all that's left to do now. Yeah, you can see a little bit of wet over here. When I go to work this thing in the springtime, I actually start using the rototiller, or whenever I end up using it. I'll definitely make some videos on how it functions, how it works. This thing should be really awesome. The tines really don't have a whole lot of time on them. They've got some. This has definitely been used. They're not worn out though. Definitely need to be cleaned. All the gearboxes need to be checked. Make sure everything's got oil in it. Yeah, that's Life Flight going overhead. But pretty neat. Looks like this was at some point painted blue as well. It's interesting. It's like red, then blue, then black, then red. I don't know if you can see that or not, but kind of interesting. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want to see anything, let me know. Like I said, what would you like to see for the giveaway prize? I've got a price in my head, but just let me know what you guys would like to see. And I'll announce it here pretty soon. See you, tubers. Bye. First and second gear, reverse you hold up, forward locks in. You do have to be holding the handle when you do it. And forwards and reverse will engage both the drive for this and the main drive. And it's really interesting. The engine moves up and down to engage and disengage. That. It's really interesting. second gear. Interesting. Works great though.